Imagine a creature that disappeared from Earth more than 4,000 years ago. An Ice Age giant with curved tusks and covered in thick wool, walking again on the tundra. What seemed like the script for a science fiction film has just become biological reality. De-extinction is no longer just a theory. A team of scientists is no longer just planning to bring the woolly mammoth back to life. They have taken the most concrete and revolutionary step to date. They have created the first embryo. The resurrection, at the cellular level, has already begun. Today, we will analyze an event that fundamentally redefines what extinction means. The biotechnology company Colossal Biosciences shocked the world by announcing that it had successfully created a functional elephant embryo that carries the main genes of a woolly mammoth. This is not a clone. It is something entirely new. But how exactly did they do it? What happens when humanity gains the power to edit the planet's biological past? And what does this hybrid creature mean for the future of Earth? For millennia, extinction was a one-way street, a biological dead end. When the last woolly mammoth died, isolated on Wrangel Island in the Arctic, its genetic code seemed lost forever. The dream of reversing this process, popularized by films such as Jurassic Park, always came up against an insurmountable obstacle: DNA. To clone an animal, such as the famous sheep Dolly, an intact and living cell nucleus is required. But all we have from mammoths are fragments of frozen DNA, shattered by time, recovered from carcasses in the permafrost. It is like trying to reconstruct an entire library from a few torn and wet pages. Traditional cloning was impossible. In addition, there was the ethical and practical problem. Even if a clone could be created, where would it be gestated? Using a modern elephant as a surrogate mother is a huge risk for a species that is already endangered. The challenge seemed twofold. It was impossible to create the embryo and unethical to gestate it. For decades, de-extinction seemed to be just a laboratory fantasy. All that changed with the arrival of two exponential technologies: high-speed DNA reading and gene editing, known as CRISPR. And this is where Colossal Biosciences comes in. They are not trying to clone a mammoth. They are doing something much more sophisticated. They are editing an elephant so that it can live like a mammoth. Here comes the simplifying analogy. Think of DNA as a giant text document on a computer. The DNA of the Asian elephant, the mammoth's closest living relative, is an almost complete document. The fragmented mammoth DNA recovered from the ice is like a list of edits and corrections we want to apply. Cloning would be like trying to copy and paste a document that no longer exists. Impossible. CRISPR technology, on the other hand, works like the find and replace tool in your word processor. The Colossal team took the Asian elephant document and used CRISPR to make precise genetic edits. They are not creating a 100% pure mammoth. They are creating a hybrid. They located the elephant genes for large ears, which lose heat, and replaced them with mammoth genes for small ears. They located the gene for common blood and replaced it with a mammoth gene that creates a kind of natural antifreeze in the blood, allowing it to survive brutal temperatures. They are adding genes for woolly hair and thick layers of subcutaneous fat. The revolutionary announcement is that this process worked. They successfully edited dozens of these traits into the genome of an elephant cell and induced that cell to become a functional embryo. This embryo, now in its early stages, is genetically an elephant, but functionally designed to be a mammoth. But Colossal didn't stop there. To solve the second problem, gestation, they are pursuing the most audacious plan of all, something that is revolutionary in itself: an artificial womb. The company has confirmed that the goal is not to use a live elephant mother. The plan is to transfer this hybrid embryo into a mechanical biosac, an advanced incubator that will provide all the nutrients and conditions necessary for the fetus to develop outside a living body. This eliminates the ethical risks to female elephants and, crucially, makes the process scalable. The implications of what Colossal Biosciences is doing are, without exaggeration, colossal. They fall into two areas: ecological potential and profound ethical dilemma. First, the positive side. Colossal's main goal is not to create an Ice Age zoo. The mission is to combat climate change. Mammoths were ecosystem engineers. When they roamed the Arctic, they knocked down trees, compacted snow, and allowed cold grasslands to thrive. This mammoth steppe reflected more sunlight and, most importantly, kept the permafrost, the frozen ground, much colder. Without mammoths, the dark tundra and shrubs absorb more heat, accelerating the melting of the permafrost. And melting permafrost releases cataclysmic amounts of methane, a greenhouse gas dozens of times more potent than CO2. The idea is to reintroduce these hybrid mammoths to Siberia and Alaska to restore this lost ecosystem and literally use these giants to keep methane locked in the ice. It is one of the most radical geoengineering solutions ever proposed. Now, the scary part. The warning from Jurassic Park is clear. Your scientists were so preoccupied with whether they could, they didn't stop to think if they should. We are opening a biological Pandora's box. What ancient diseases might this embryo carry? What unpredictable impact will it have on modern ecosystems? Furthermore, this embryo is being created to be born from a machine. It will be a creature without a mother, without a herd to teach it how to be a mammoth or an elephant. We are creating an orphaned life form whose psychology we cannot predict. And the deeper question, if we can do this with the mammoth, what comes next? The dodo? The Tasmanian tiger? And where do we draw the line? The Neanderthal genome is almost complete. The technology to edit a human embryo with Neanderthal genes is essentially the same. By bringing back the mammoth, we are appointing ourselves as editors-in-chief of evolution. We are deciding which species deserve a second chance and which do not. It is a level of power that humanity has never had before. What we are witnessing with this announcement from Colossal Biosciences is not just a scientific achievement, it is a philosophical milestone. The first mammoth elephant embryo is proof of concept that extinction is no longer permanent. It is an engineering problem that is being solved. The barrier between the past and the present, between the natural and the artificial, is dissolving on a laboratory plate. The creature that symbolized the frozen past may, ironically, become the key to a more stable climate future. But it also represents our entry into an era of absolute biological control. The question this embryo forces us to ask is no longer whether we can resurrect the dead. The question now is, who on planet Earth will have the right to decide? This is undoubtedly one of the most complex topics we have ever addressed. I want to know your honest opinion on this. Do you think de-extinction is a brilliant tool for combating climate change? Or is it human arrogance that will bring disastrous consequences? Leave your opinion in the comments. If you are as fascinated as I am by the power of these new technologies, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. The future is being programmed, and we will be here to decode every line of that code. See you next time.